These are things I don't want to happen in Sonic 3. First of all, is I do not want Shadow to just be some like, oh, semi-mysterious villain of this movie that we don't really learn a lot about. I really think this movie, in order to be successful and better than the first two, needs to have a huge focus on Shadow, honestly more so than Sonic and the rest of the characters. This is an incredibly cool and complex character, and you got the great Keanu Reeves to do the voice of him, and I love how he sounds in the trailers for this. I think it would be a major waste if you don't mainly focus on him and give him a ton of screen time in this film. We've learned a lot about Sonic already, so we don't need to spend that much time with Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and the rest of the gang. We can focus a lot on Shadow in this one, hopefully. Speaking of Shadow, I also would really love to see them just go extra hard on the action and fight scenes in this movie. It's not like the action scenes are terrible in the first two films, but I feel like they're kind of holding back a bit. But now with Shadow versus Sonic, this gives us potential for some absolutely crazy scenes. I'm not exaggerating. Literally give me like an insane 10-minute Sonic versus Shadow battle, just going all out with the CGI and animation of these two, and it could be absolutely peak. Tying in with that, since we already got Super Sonic, I think it would be a real waste of potential if we don't see Super Shadow. Maybe they're saving that for farther down the line, but I would love to see that in this next Sonic movie, and him versus Super Sonic could be insane. I asked on my community tab to comment below things you guys wanted to see in the movie, and tons of comments said they want to see things like Rouge the Bat, Silver, or Amy introduced. On first, I was honestly on board with you guys, but honestly now I don't want to see these guys in the movie at all. Outside of like a post-credit scene teasing maybe one or two of them to show up in the next Sonic 4, because we know they're going to try to milk this franchise for as many movies as they can get, I think this film's just going to be a little overcrowded if they try to jam them in. Because like I said, we already have Tom, aka Donut Lord, we have Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, we know Dr. Robotnik's coming back, and Shadow, and that's a lot of characters right there. I feel like trying to get any of these in, they're going to feel really underdeveloped, so it's best just to save them for a later entry, so I don't want them in this movie. I also really do not want them to kill off Dr. Robotnik in this movie. I'm sorry, Jim Carrey is easily the best part of the first two Sonic movies, and he's a huge reason why I am excited in addition to Shadow for Sonic 3. Like, Jim Carrey is just having such a blast giving us one of the most cartoony villain performances I've ever seen in a live action movie, and I don't care if he narrowly escapes death in a super unrealistic way every time. I do not want this character going anywhere. He is what makes these Sonic movies work in my opinion. If he's not in the next couple, I'm gonna lose a lot of interest because Jim Carrey is just so incredible in these, so just keep him alive. I don't care how little sense it makes at this point. Speaking of characters that should be alive or not, this is a heavily debated one in my post where I was asking what you guys want to see. Half the comments were saying that they want to see Tom die and give Sonic some like character development, or maybe we get like a Dark Sonic or something like that. And the other half were saying they really don't think he should die and want him to stay alive. And I'm falling in the category, I don't think Sonic 3 should kill off Tom, aka Donut Lord. I think him and Sonic have a really great and fun dynamic. And like I said, if we're going to get more movies out of this franchise, which we know they're going to try to, I think he needs to be around for at least one more after this. I think his death would be a great way to maybe end a franchise, or if you're going to start up a new Sonic trilogy of 4, 5, and 6, that could be a bold way to start the fourth film or something like that, but I don't think he should die in this one. Another heavily commented one that I have to say I heavily agree with is please no more flossing in the Sonic movies. We've had enough of this for a lifetime. Kind of with that being said, I also really don't want this movie to feel like it's super childish. Like, yes, I understand these movies are kind of mainly targeted towards kids, but you can still get a little bit more serious in your films while still keeping that kind of goofy and lighthearted feeling. You gotta kind of balance it out a little bit better, especially introducing a character like Shadow in my opinion, or else the tone of the movie is just gonna feel completely off. So I hope they can just mature it a little bit as the audience grows up that's been watching these movies. I also really don't want Shadow to join Sonic and the gang at the end of this movie. I think he's best served as kind of like a lone wolf anti-hero villain that nobody really knows where he is. Maybe he briefly shows up in future Sonic movies, but I don't want him just running around and being a hero in the next films. Another commenter pointed out that they wanted to see Shadow use the Chaos Spear, and I 1000% agree that would be so dope to see in a fight scene in this movie. In addition to letting me know in the comments what you think about everything I said in this video, things you do and don't want to see in Sonic 3, also leave a comment and letting me know what you do and don't want to happen in Superman coming out next year, because this movie has so much important for the future of the DCU, so this is going to be one of the next ones I cover in this series, and I'm really excited to talk about it. I want to see all your great ideas.